It is my great privilege to welcome Brandon Underwood, who is a senior at St. Louis University High School, and he's going to speak to us about my awakening to racial issues and social justice. Please welcome Brandon.
Good evening. As she said, I am Brandon Underwood, a senior at St. Louis University High School. August 27th, 2014 was my worst and best birthday. The night of my birthday, I was furious. My face was soaked with tears of frustration and pain at what had transpired in Ferguson just 18 days earlier. On August 9th, Michael Brown was gunned down in the middle of the street. His body laid in the street for 4 hours. An officer had again decided to become judge, juror, and executioner when it came to the life of a young black male. Mike Brown was 18 years old. He was a recent high school graduate with plans for his future. Yet the media wasted no time dragging his name through the mud. My indignation began to give way to fear, however, because I had just turned 17. I was only 1 year younger than Mike Brown. Mike Brown was the latest in a series of young black men whose futures have been denied. But this time, I couldn't turn away because Mike Brown was killed 3 miles away from my home. In that moment, it was no longer Mike Brown's body laying in the street. It was my own. It was my brother Danny's body. It was my little brother Marcus's body. It was unbearable. I know I would do anything to protect my brothers. How could I not stand when other people's brothers and fathers are being killed because they're young, black, and male? How can I not demand that black lives are just as precious as any other life? I felt called to seek justice for all my brothers and sisters whose human dignity was being robbed. This call to seek justice was my birthday present. Each of us here possesses a call, a passion for justice. It has different forms for all of us, but for me, at the time, it was wild and unformed. I started with the easiest place to reach, myself. After my transformative 17th birthday, I immersed myself into studies dealing with racial and social justice. Slowly, I started to feel a passion for change forming within me. I realized what every advocate for change comes to grips with. I couldn't do it alone. I knew I needed solidarity. With hindsight, you could say that I needed to build bridges with the world around me. I started with one of my teachers, Mr. Zinzelmeyer. I took a deep breath before I sent the email to Mr. Z to ask if he would read The Racial Contract by Charles Mills with me. I was nervous that he might say no. If Mr. Z had said he was too busy to read the book with me, my journey to build bridges in my community might have ended before it even got started. But Mr. Z said yes. He helped me pursue a deeper understanding of the world around me. He helped me realize that I had the power to build bridges around me and help them flourish. The first bridge I made was with my family. I know no matter how angry I make my older brother Danny, I can always rely on him to push that aside and discuss any topic at length with me in order to challenge my understanding of the world. I honestly believe he has higher aspirations for me than I do for myself. Next, I looked at the community around me. I started working with the local Urban League. The Urban League strives to enable African Americans to secure economic self-reliance, equality, power, and civil rights. This past summer, I participated in the Urban League National Summit with other young people. We learned how to foster greater solidarity in our cities. At that summit, I realized that young people like you and me are constantly at work trying to better our society. Lastly, I built a bridge at my school. I was given a rare opportunity to speak in front of the entire faculty and staff about the importance of achieving racial inclusion. I was nervous, but I knew I had something important to say. I knew they needed to hear a young person's perspective. In the speech, I stressed that both teachers and students have valuable opinions to be shared on the issue of racism. Rather than just talk about the idea of building bridges between students and teachers, I wanted to do it. So I established a group called Student Teacher Association for Racial Study, also known as S.T.A.R.S. S.T.A.R.S is currently examining the autobiography of Malcolm X, which walks through the journey of an imperfect man and his passion for the betterment of a people and a nation. S.T.A.R.S strives to be more than just men and women for others. We are men and women with others. I think that's why we're all here. We are actively trying to be men and women for and with others. I know there are a lot of issues in America that need to be addressed. I know that it can seem like the problem is too big, but I also know that each of us must listen to our own call. Each of us is called to awaken to the ways we can fight injustice. Your call to social justice might manifest it differently than mine. It could be confronting a friend telling a racist joke. It could be starting a heart-to-heart dialogue with your own parents, or it could mean starting your own social justice group. But at the heart of each call must be the hope that change is possible. We must have faith and hope in ourselves and our fellow men and women. We must possess the hope that this journey that we are on, no matter the speed, will lead us to justice. My favorite quote from Martin Luther King speaks to this. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. With our passion for change, we all have to keep moving forward. For ourselves, for our communities, for the greater glory of God. Thank you.